I had one, but you know, like I said, you know, Mike is a true champion, true warrior. You know, he brought the best out of me, I brought the best out of him, and he came out victorious.
Yeah, you definitely also brought the best out of me. You fought very well. You know, you gave me a good fight, and you made me work. So I congratulate you on your performance also. Thanks.
Okay, I think we have a question right there from Lance Buckmeyer from the LA Times.
Mikey, congratulations. This fight, how does it lend itself to a possible move up to welterweight against Spence? What did you take from tonight that really proves that point?
Oh, well, I always look for the biggest challenges. I'm looking for the biggest fights. You know, ever since I came back, I wanted to, in a way, make up for the lost time. And I don't think there's any other way except fighting the best champions out there. We fought another undefeated fighter, undefeated champion. Tonight, there's no one else that excites me enough, that motivates me, and that can challenge me other than Errol Spence. And I'm willing to take that challenge all the way up just because that's the fight that I want. That's the fight that will motivate me the most.
Hey, Mikey, back here. Mikey, straight back. Hey, congratulations on the win tonight. When you talk about Errol Spence, he came over and he spoke to some of us at ringside after the fight, and we asked him what he thought about it. And when he was concluding his remarks, he said he was licking his chops. You know, he gave you respect for being a top-notch fighter, but it seemed like he didn't think that your size would translate to where he's at. What do you think about the fact that you're both tremendous fighters, but that he's so much bigger than you?
No, that's a challenge. You know, I am moving up all the way to welterweight. You know, if I land that fight, it'll be my first attempt at welterweight, and I'm going against the top guy there, against the best in the division. I'm prepared to take on that challenge. Like I said, I'm here to challenge myself, you know, and he is the best. He might feel that it's, you know, an easy fight for him when I'm too small. You know, well, that's fine. You know, let's get in the ring and let's get to work.
I'd like to ask Robert Garcia about that also. Robert, I know that you've had, in past statements, had some misgivings about the prospect of Mikey going up to welterweight. Can you expound on that now that it seems though it's going to probably become a reality at the end of this year?
Look, we've always said that we shouldn't move too fast and take that challenge right now because, you know, we're doing great at lightweight and even junior welterweight. But that's what Mikey wants, and we know that he does have the skills. He has the time to compete. You know, it's not going to be easy. And Mikey said before, you know, he loves those challenges, and this will probably be the first fight that he's ever had where he's going to be the underdog, and I think that's what's going to motivate him even more. That's why he's willing to take it. So I'm, you know, from now on, we're going to take the fight.
Just give it up for Robert Easter. He's leaving.
No, we exchanged punches on several occasions. On one occasion, I remember he landed a good right hand to the head. It didn't hurt me, but he felt that he might have hurt me, and he came on the attack. So I had to defend. I got to, you know, be careful. I got to block, but I would come back. You know, he's a fighter. He fights, and there's moments, you know, we're in a fight. I mean, you are expected to get hit once in a while.
Mikey, when you heard him that early in the fight and you had him down in the third round,
yes.
When you had him down in the third round, did you feel that you were going to finish him and be able to knock him out in the fight?
No, not right away there. He got up. He wasn't completely hurt. You know, I caught him with a good right hand and then that left hook that put him down. But he wasn't out. You know, I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his body. You know, he was wide awake. It's not like he was, you know, to the point where I could finish him off. I tried to land a few other punches throughout the fight, and I think I might have hurt him with a body shot at one time, but it was towards the end of the round, and you know, he was game. He survived. Then he focused more on just surviving and defending himself, and made it a little more complicated for me. Up until the 12th round, I was still landing some good shots, and I still tried to, you know, land some good head shots in the last and final round, but you know, I didn't feel enough damage was done to try to put him out.
Did you feel that he kind of went into survival mode in the second half of the fight?
There's a few rounds where he did. I think he went a little more defensive. you know, I don't know if you want to call that survival mode. Maybe he was a little hurt from the body shot, or maybe he felt a punch upstairs that might have hurt him. And he's smart. He's a champion. He wanted to, you know, survive, get his bearings again, and I mean, he made it to the 12th round.
Mikey, talk about his jab. Did you guys have that plan?
I felt coming into the fight, I felt, and we all thought, you know, he was going to try to use that jab, use that reach. So we were prepared for that. He really wasn't snapping it hard. He was just, you know, throwing it out there. So I just had to wait for the right time, the right distance, and range for me to be able to land. I landed some good jabs on him, you know, even though he had the reach. You know, I was able to time it perfectly and land a solid jab. And I think he respected that enough because he would move back.
Do you see any similarities? You see, obviously, Arrows is 147. Do you see any similarities in the style between Easter?
Look, I think it's a different fight. Errol Spence is southpaw. He bangs to the body a lot. It's a different fight. This guy Easter was fighting, trying to use that distance, but it's just a whole different fighter.
Robert, question for you in the back here. Lomachenko is a top-ranked fighter. We know the history there with Mikey with Top Rank. You've been doing a lot of those top-ranked shows recently. Have you had any conversations with the people there about kind of thawing those problems and advancing towards, you know, Mikey and Lomachenko?
You know, not with Bob Arum or Todd, but I do with a lot of other people that work for Top Rank, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. You know, most of them tell me Mikey will beat Lomachenko, and that's probably why if the fight ever happens, it's gonna be whenever it's so big where it has to happen. But as of now, that's what Mikey doesn't even consider chasing that fight, because we know that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Robert, Mikey, buenas noches. Esta pregunta va de parte de campeones y campeones del mundo que me pidieron que le hiciera. Dicen que no vayas por Spence, muchos campeones y campeones, que vayas por Lomachenko, porque definitivamente ganándole a él merece ser el número 1 libra por libra. La pregunta es para los dos, por favor.
Mira, yo pienso que es la pelea en ligero que será la más grande, una pelea contra Lomachenko, pero siendo realistas con las promociones y las diferencias de canal y todo, se complica mucho. Si él está dispuesto a pelear conmigo, que yo sé que él sí está dispuesto, tiene que pedírselo a su promotor, a Top Rank, que nos hablen y nos sentaremos a platicar y discutir esa posibilidad. A mí me encantaría una pelea con él.
Perdón, Robert, si puedes contestarnos la pregunta, por favor.
Sí, exactamente como lo comenté hace rato. Mira, pelearle a Lomachenko fuera lo ideal, fuera lo mejor, lo que yo preferiría hacer, porque sé que es una pelea grandísima, especialmente en peso liguero. No es un peleador grande como lo es Errol Spence, pero la realidad es que no se va a hacer. No se va a hacer, menos ahorita la que sigue no se va a hacer, así que tendremos que seguirlo esperando, quizá un año y medio más. Y mientras, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
Claro.
No hay nada más en ligero para Mikey, así que lo más posible es que vamos buscando otros retos más grandes, y un día, si de aquí a un año y medio, 2 años es la pelea suficientemente grande para hacerla, entonces va a ser, pero en estos momentos no creo que sea.
Mikey, finalmente, ¿qué le dice a todo el pueblo mexicano, la raza que literalmente atiborró el Staples Center? Le va a que te apoyaron mucho. ¿Qué le dice a la raza?
Me recibieron muy bonito, me da mucho gusto que me hayan venido a apoyar. Estoy muy contento con ese recibimiento. Muy feliz de estar de regreso aquí, y pues en realidad quedé admirado. Me brindan de emoción en realidad cuando estoy saliendo y que miro todo el público. Ese es un sentimiento muy especial. Entonces, muchas gracias a todos por ese apoyo.
Hola Mikey, para todos esta noche. Mi puntuación fue 107-120, no vi ganar un solo round a Robert, Mr. Junior. Pero no te faltó un poquito, porque él no presentó pelea, él no hizo nada por ganar. Tú forzaste la pelea desde el principio, fuiste para adelante, pero no te faltó tirar más al cuerpo.
Había ocasiones donde se presentaba quizás una oportunidad, pero para poder trabajar bien al cuerpo necesitaba yo que él se parara a medio ring. Cuando estaba moviéndose es más difícil cuando se mueve. Y aunque lo llevé a las cuerdas en ocasiones, se movía y se quitaba, entonces no hubo tanta posibilidad. En una ocasión sí le pegué un buen gancho al hígado que parece que lo lastimé un poquito, pero fue al final del round y sobrevivió y después ya menos se paraba.
Yo pienso que hizo una pelea, en realidad Easter Jr. hizo una pelea inteligente, una pelea difícil, supo usar mucho su alcance, no fue fácil, se nos dificultó porque 5 pulgadas de estatura y 8 de alcance, o sea, tuvieron un buen plan en realidad, su entrenador, su equipo, supieron hacer un buen trabajo, obviamente no pudieron vencer a Mikey, pero sí tenían un muy buen plan de pelea.
Una más. Esta me dice, ¿recuerdas la pelea que tuviste tú con Chico Corrales por la diferencia de estatura?
No, pero a mí Chico me noqueó.
Y la otra es, esta pelea puede servir en caso de frente a Errol Spence, ¿cómo la estatura que tienes?
Pues es zurdo Errol Spence y en realidad no es igual de alto que Easter, así que no tiene yo creo nada de parecido a la pelea.
All down there. Looking ahead to a fight with Spence. Are you guys looking at pay-per-view in Vegas, or if not, what are maybe some of the other options?
Well, definitely it's a pay-per-view fight. I mean, it's one of the biggest fights you can make. It's like a dream matchup, almost too good to be true. You know, definitely pay-per-view. And I do like to. I think for pay-per-view, Las Vegas is the perfect place. But I do believe with this huge turnout Mikey had tonight here, as I mentioned, it was slightly bigger than what we had for Mars and Santa Cruz, but for Mikey to come back here after 7 years, I mentioned it before, Los Angeles Staples Center has its 4th franchise here after the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings. They have the Garcias now, Mikey Garcia, and I think this building here is going to see much more of Mikey Garcia.
From a promoter standpoint, what's the next step and how fast does that happen?
Well, Mikey is his own boss, so Mikey will be calling the shots, and I think the good foundation is that Mikey and Errol Spence both seem to want to have the fight. They both have the same advisor, so you know, I mean, we'll see how quickly it can be put together. But usually when 2 fighters want to fight, 2 fighters who are in control of their own destiny, you know, it's relatively easy to get stuff done.
Mikey, Robert got his punches in, jabs to the body, but in the second and third round you started to look a little more comfortable, and once you got the knockdown, starting the 4th round, you kind of looked a little more lively, had a more spring in your step. Did that knockdown kind of help alleviate a little bit of the pressure when it comes to fighting Robert?
I like to be patient early on in my fights anyways. First couple rounds, I'm feeling my opponent, you know, finding that distance, that range, feeling his speed, his power. So it was just a matter of time before I started to get on the attack, get my rhythm going. Just so happens that I knocked him down in that 3rd round, but you know, I started getting that rhythm going, and after I noticed that I could hurt him and I felt that I was starting to take control, you know, that was it. There was no turning back, no walking back.
You know, lastly, and obviously you want to fight Errol Spence all the way at 147, and winning that title would give you a world title in 5 different weight classes. What does that mean for you legacy-wise to join an extremely elite and exclusive class of fighters winning a world title in 5 different weight classes?
Well, that's why I'm trying to get that, because there's only a select few, and only the greats, you know, have accomplished that feat. I'm here in search of that. You know, and I'm not just trying to pick up a belt against nobody, against someone that just happens to be a champ. I'm going against the best. I'm trying to get the best fighter, the most, you know, just dangerous man at welterweight. You know, I'm trying to get that because that's what I think will, you know, cement my name and put that, you know, stamp of approval for everybody. No one else will be doing that. No one else is doing that right now. There's no other fighter on this planet doing what I'm doing.
It's, as I said, dare to be great. Dare to be great. Very few do that.
Richard, you know, you said it's one of the biggest fights that could be made. I know you've broken down the numbers a million times by now, I'm sure.
I love to do pay-per-views, and I'm usually pretty accurate with my, you know, with my estimations. So I think this is going to be a big pay-per-view, and I'm not going to tell you how many yet, but you know, I always promote pay-per-views. I want to break records. And, you know, so we're going to do a big number with that.
And a question for Robert and Mikey. You know, we've seen fighters in the past, like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins, utilize like a conditioning guru, like a Mackie Showstone, when they go up for a high-profile fight at a greater weight. Would you bring in someone like that, or not him in particular, but just some kind of like strength and conditioning guru?
Look, it's kind of different the way things work with especially with Mikey. You know, I said to a few people before, you know, this is like one of the first training camps that Mikey starts doing sit-ups. You know, maybe that's the start. Maybe that's the start to get himself to a welterweight. You know, he hardly ever does sit-ups or pull-ups or push-ups or none of that stuff. He does his running. He runs very hard, and when we're in the gym, we do a lot of rounds of sparring. That's pretty much what what our training camp is about. You know, the rest is something that we've never really used with Mikey. So it'd be something that moving up to welterweight, something that we would probably consider and maybe talk about before before I make a decision. It'll be between me, Mikey, my father, and the rest of the team. See what we decide to do.
Well, I mean, I don't do a whole lot of physical training like that, but I think we'll have to use a little more and implement some different exercises because I am going to be moving up all the way to welterweight. So I think the main thing would be the diet, change the way we eat, and maybe implement a little more, physical core training for that.
And also, I mean, obviously you're a great boxer, but Spence is like a big 47 who could even fight at 54. Like, how much muscle would you have to possibly add on to just deal with his strength and power?
I mean, there's other things that I can try to use. I can try to use speed. I can try to use angles. I can footwork. There's a lot of things that I can use to overcome that height, that reach, the southpaw, the strength, all that. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes, to compete and win that fight as well.
Mikey, when Spence visited us at ringside, he said he wants to do this fight this year. And he mentioned November. That might be a pretty quick turnaround. Would you be willing to do it as early as November?
Well, I said I wanted to do before the end of the year. November's before the end of the year. I was thinking, November, December. It's not too far off. If we land on a date that we can, compromise there, I think we can have a good training camp, enough time. That's all that it takes. If we set a date that allows both of us to train, well for it, I have no problem.
Even though it was the left hook that dropped him, you managed to land the right hand pretty frequently, and it seemed pretty easy. What was it about him or your game plan that you were able to land the right hand strictly?
He kept bending towards his right, so my right hand would actually come down and land a couple of times. It was hard for me to land it when he was standing straight up. Sometimes I'd miss, but it's just the timing. I had to figure out the right time for me to let go of that right hand. That left hook that dropped him came after a right hand. As he was pulling back, I caught him with a left hook. On other occasions, I landed a good left hook. I mean, we were ready to do whatever it takes, and we practiced a lot in the gym, and we knew it was just about getting that right distance, that right range, so that I could let go of my hands.
Mikey, there's been a lot of talk about, you haven't faced a fighter that big, but Spence also to this point has only faced really like Kell Brook, right? As far as like world-class fighter, he hasn't faced a boxer like you. And I know you keep saying that you've seen something in his game. Do you think that he'd be in for a surprise as far as your boxing ability and angles and footwork and those sort of things?
He's a terrific fighter. He's an experienced fighter, and he's very strong. He's a dangerous man. So I don't know if I can surprise him. I think he's got the experience. He knows the kind of fighter I am. But I think what will surprise him is how well I can do other things. If you're standing on the outside, everybody can just see a simple guy just straight 1, 2. Nothing special about that. Ask any of my opponents what they feel after the fight. Is it easy? Was it like they expected? I think they'll all tell you it wasn't what they expected.
Hey, Mikey, have you guys considered maybe when the
fight gets made, having some sort of stipulation where the Spence can't go over a certain weight, like rehydrate? I don't know, have you thought about that?
I think the IBF has its own regulations and laws on that, so I got nothing to ask. I ain't asking for no catch rate either.
You know, whatever we say is not going to change Mikey's idea, you know, of fighting Errol Spence. So we're going to go for it. You know, we've talked to my dad, and my dad tells me earlier today, after the fight in the locker room, says, contact Manny Pacquiao. My dad would rather go after Manny Pacquiao. He's a WBA champion, and but that just doesn't interest Mikey. I think we're going to go straight into Errol Spence.
Mike, would you want that fight in San Antonio, or would you want that fight in Dallas or in Los Angeles?
I think we already started talking about that, and I think that fight belongs in Vegas. You know, a big fight like that, I think belongs in Vegas. It just, you know, it's a huge attraction, big fight, you know, and I don't think that there's any other better venue for it.
Mikey, what do you rate your performance? I know you haven't had a chance to watch tape, but what did you grade your performance to?
I think I did very well. You know, I think I overcame the height and reach. You know, I did well. I hardly got hit. You know, a couple jabs, you know, you're boxing, but overall, I didn't get hit with solid punches. I wasn't hurt, and I hurt my opponent several times. Body shots upstairs, I dropped them. I mean, I don't think I could have done much more. You know, if I had stopped him, obviously that would have been probably a better ending to the fight, but you know, you saw me 12 rounds, you saw me adjust, you saw me use my feet at times, you saw me fight on the outside, you saw me fight on the inside. I think I did, you know, great.
It was a masterful performance, and please give it up for Mikey Garcia, now unifying like